Complex studies made simple. Welcome to the Reuse Podcast. Episode 5. What happens next? Today with Mary and Peter.
Welcome back to the Reuse Podcast. We are finally wrapping up our look into the Fraunhofer study today.
Yeah, it has been quite a journey through all this source material.
Right. I mean, we've debated disposable versus reusable packaging and, looked at how to actually measure energy, water, and circularity.
Specifically with those everyday examples like the coffee cups and the transport crates.
Exactly. And this part really feels like almost like the season finale of a mystery show, where all those scattered clues about energy and water finally come together.
That is a great way to put it. Because this study didn't just rely on theory, they rigorously tracked the actual energy and fresh water use, comparing reuse directly against recycling systems.
Well, speaking of recycling, is it essentially just a leaky bucket at this point? Because I saw that single-use cardboard boxes can lose like up to 83% of their material in the loop.
Yeah, 83%. It's wild. Every time paper and cardboard go through pulping, the wood fibers physically shorten and degrade.
Oh, and chemical contaminants build up too, right?
Right. And because food safety laws are heavily regulated to prevent contamination, you usually cannot use that recycled paper pulp to make new food packaging.
So it just gets downcycled.
It either gets downcycled into lower grade products or filtered out as waste entirely.
Wow. That really makes the case for reusable systems look much stronger. I mean, the data showed reusable plastic crates use roughly 1/40th of the energy and 1/15th of the water compared to single-use cardboard.
It is a massive gap.
But why is the gap that massive?
Well, think about how cardboard is made. You need vast amounts of fresh water to pulp the wood and high heat energy to press and dry those fibers every single time you make a box.
Right, whereas a plastic crate
Requires a significant burst of heat and fossil fuels up front, sure. But then that heavy-duty crate is washed and reused over 100 times.
So you were basically spreading that initial manufacturing footprint across years of use. That math makes sense for commercial crates. But for consumer items, like coffee cups, the study says a reusable cup has to circulate at least 5 times just to break even environmentally against paper?
Yeah, 5 times minimum.
So what if people just, hoard those reusable cups in their back seats or cupboards? Doesn't that completely destroy the environmental math?
Oh, it completely flips it. Manufacturing a thick, durable, reusable cup takes far more raw petroleum and upfront energy than a thin paper cup.
Right.
If you only use that heavy-duty plastic cup once or twice before losing it, you've effectively created a more resource-intensive, higher-carbon piece of trash.
I see. It has to physically circulate multiple times to dilute that footprint.
Precisely.
So the environmental impact depends much less on whether a cup is made of plastic or paper, and almost entirely on the overarching logistics system keeping it in motion.
That is the core takeaway. If the logistics fail, the material doesn't matter.
It reminds me of a public transit bus. A bus is heavy and burns fuel, so it's only an eco-friendly alternative to cars if people actually ride it and the road is highly efficient, An empty bus just burns fuel for nothing.
That's a perfect analogy. And this shifts the responsibilities significantly. For you, getting a coffee on the way to work, returning that cup is a mandatory part of the process, not just an optional favor.
But how does a small independent cafe realistically handle that? I mean, they are set up to brew espresso, not to operate a reverse logistics company tracking down missing cups.
Well, they can't do it alone. The data points toward the need for shared citywide return infrastructure.
Like centralized washing facilities.
Yeah, shared pools of standardized containers. The cafe simply pays to access the pool, serves the coffee, and then a municipal or third-party system handles all the collection and sanitization.
Okay, so it requires the infrastructure and human participation to work simultaneously. It's kind of like a gym membership.
Huh.
Like, simply owning the plastic card doesn't make you fit. You have to actually show up and do the daily reps to see any result. With packaging, doing the reps means keeping the item circulating.
I love that. The potential is definitely there, provided those reps become a frictionless part of everyday life.
Totally. Well, before we wrap up, thank you for joining us on the Reuse Podcast. We highly encourage you to explore our other discussions on this source material if you haven't yet.
There is definitely a lot more to unpack in the previous parts.
For sure. But I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative thought from the study. We established earlier that recycled paper struggles with food contact safety, because of chemical contaminants.
Right, which only become harder to trace as recycling streams mix over time.
Yeah, so could future health regulations eventually become so stringent that they force a total ban on recycled single-use paper for food?
That would change everything.
It really would. Because if that happens, will a strictly monitored, 100% reusable plastic system become our only legally safe option on the table? Definitely something to consider next time you grab a coffee.
You can find the next episode right here on our channel.
Understanding research behind reuse and recycling. This is the Reuse Podcast.